Okay, so you have probably heard of OpenClaw by now, the open source AI agent that took the whole internet by storm. 300k stars on GitHub, and it's very close to Jarvis. If you have ever tried to set up for yourself, you know that this is a nightmare. You have to open up Terminal for the first time, install Node.js, set up the config, API keys, skills, tools, MCPs, GitHub. Bro, that's like 47 different steps. I run an agency and I set up automations for clients on a daily basis. And yet I spent 3 hours setting up OpenClaw on my system and I had to restart the whole setup twice. And that's when I discovered Nuts Studio, a Windows app that gets you running OpenClaw agent in under 3 minutes. No terminal, no setup, and I was like, challenge accepted. And honestly, I was not ready for what I found. I'm going to show you exactly how to install Nuts Studio with one click. Talk to it via Telegram bot, get a cron job firing every day at 9 a.m., install the security tools, and connect it directly to YouTube so that I can generate shorts for my channels on a daily basis. So Nuts Studio is a Windows desktop app that is built on top of OpenClaw. It handles all the hard setup processes from the agent, the channels, skills, models, scheduling, guardrails, and does it all via a very clean UI. Today, I'm going to set it up from scratch, connecting it to Telegram and Claude. And I'm going to show you exactly how I use it to make YouTube scripts on a daily basis and remind me to make content for YouTube. Alright, so this is the layout of Nuts Studio. This is the web app I was talking about and how you can deploy OpenClaw in just 3 minutes with no setup required. It's actually pretty simple. So we're going to go ahead and just press the download button. This is going to download the whole exe setup, and then we can see the file located over here, and we're just going to double click and install it. So I want you to follow the installation process step by step, and once everything is done, you're going to see the simple page on how OpenClaw looks like. Okay, once you have finished installation, you should see a page that looks just like this. It's its own application of Nuts Studio, and it has already deployed OpenClaw. But before we set everything up, we need to connect two things. One is the model and next is the channel. So we're going to go ahead to the workspace. We're going to find the models over here, and we can choose which model we're going to be working with. For this one, I'm going to be connecting Anthropic. Make sure that Claude is ready, up and set up. So over here, all we need is an API key. The first thing you want to do is go to the Claude dashboard, which is platform.claude.com, and go to settings and keys. Over here, we can create a new key. Just make sure that you already have your billing activated and you have some balance for us to play with. So the first thing we're going to do is go create an API key. We're going to call it Nuts Studio. Press add, copy the key and bring it back to our dashboard. Save it and it should be connected. Okay, perfect. Now we have Anthropic connected. Okay, next we're going to open channels and then we're going to find our Telegram. So over here we see Telegram. It has not been set. We're going to go ahead and see the bot prefixes as well as the bot token. So this is something that we need from BotFather. So I'm going to go ahead and open my Telegram account. And then over here, we're going to search for BotFather. Okay, so this is the basic tool that we use to create any bots. We're going to go and create a new bot. So over here, we're going to go to new bot. We're going to call it Nuts Studio. And then we're going to choose a username for the bot, Nut Studio J bot. Okay, over here, we're going to get the access to the HTTP API. We're just going to copy this code over here and bring it back to our Nuts Studio. We're going to save it and we're going to call our bot prefix, leave it as empty, and we're just going to enable everything. Okay, we're going to press save. And now when we chat with the bot by pressing this one, start the chat, and we should see that this communication has already started in our Nuts Studio backend. So we're going to go back to our here and we're just going to go to sessions to see that there is one session that has been started. It's /start by Telegram ID created at today at exactly our right moment. So this session has already started. After we set up the whole Anthropic API key, we need to go to models, and then we're going to go ahead and connect the right model into place. So we're going to see that we're going to add a model here, and it requires us for a model ID and a model name. So we're going to go ahead and search for Anthropic's documentation. Just go and search for Claude model ID, and then it has a documentation for models overview, and just choose which model you want to use. I think the Opus is very good, but it's very expensive. Sonnet is pretty good, and I think it's perfect for this task. And Haiku is much cheaper. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with this Claude API ID of Claude Sonnet. I'm going to go back to our Nut Studio, and then I'm going to paste it both in the model ID as well as in the model name. I'm going to press add model, and once we're done, we're going to go ahead and test connection to see if everything's okay. Okay, everything looks successful. Then we're going to go to the LLM configuration. We're going to click on the provider, choose Anthropic, and choose the model that we have just created and save this. Okay, now that everything has been connected, we're going to go back to our Telegram, and then we're going to try again and press start. Okay, so it's going to go ahead and reply us. We see that it's using the memory search tool. It has a memory MD already, and it's seeing if there's any long-term memory, if there's any sessions before this that it can use as reference to reply us. There is none, so it goes ahead and replies. Okay, now we have proof that the OpenAI agent is running locally through Nut Studio and is powered by Claude and is responding directly on Telegram. Now, I didn't open the terminal once in this whole product. Next is we're going to go ahead and set up Cron Jobs. Go into our sessions, and over here we can see when we press edit on any Telegram, we have a session ID here, right? We have the ID of the conversation, we have the user ID as well as the session ID. So we're going to just paste it in a place we can see. For now, we're going to copy this as well as the session ID. So we're going to copy this and go back to our Cron Jobs, and we're going to create a cron job, and then we're going to have the first thing, most important, is the target channel should be Telegram. The target user ID is the number that we have just copied, and then the target session ID is Telegram, this thing. Okay, once we already have everything done, we're going to go ahead and describe what our job ID looks like. So I'm just going to call it daily briefing, and then the next one, the job name is also daily briefing. Okay, we're going to turn on the status. We're going to turn it on for every day. The description is just like, tell me 3 AI news that were announced today. Okay, then we're going to copy the content. Let's copy this here, paste it here. So this is the basic request format, and we're going to simulate what the user actually tells about. So like, what are the latest AI news today? Okay, so now we have the basic content, we have the target channel, everything, max currency, and we're going to go ahead and press save. Just to test everything out, we're going to press execute now, and we're going to see if what the response looks like on our Telegram. Okay, so it seems that the whole cron job has already started working, and it's able to use a few browsers, but it still has a failed attempt. Maybe that's because we have not set up our whole browser yet. Next is we're going to go ahead and go to Heartbeat, right? And so Heartbeat is something that helps us check whether our AI agent is working properly or not. So I'm going to go ahead and enable the Heartbeat, and it's basically going to do self-check every 6 hours at regular intervals. You set it, you forget it, and then it'll ping you if anything is off, if anything is broken, but it helps make sure that the whole system is alive. So the first one is we want to go to tools. Right over here, it has a few built-in tools that we can already use. Now, every tool of this agent can be used is already listed here. Each one is toggled individually, and let me walk through what each one of them actually does and how I'm configuring mine. The first is the execute shell command. This lets the agent run terminal commands on your machine, powerful for a content creator setup, but I'm going to leave this off because I don't like any machine touching my terminals as well as file systems. Then the next one is the read and write files. I'm keeping both on because I want it to be able to read and create documents that I can send to clients. The next one is the edit file. So it's useful when I ask it to update existing files like PDFs, Word documents, as well as other documents to use. The next is the browser use. We're going to leave this on because it allows us to search the web and navigate sites, pull information, and create reports. The next one is the desktop screenshots. I'm quite still unsure about this, but I want to know what's going on in my desktop, so I'm just going to leave this on. And then send file to user. It lets me send the documents that we have created back to Telegram. And get current time and token usage is super important because sometimes the AI hallucinates and goes back to 2024, 2025. We wanted to understand what's the current date and time without actually spending any tokens querying this information. Once we're done with tools, we're going to go ahead to settings and go to security. So this one is actually enable the guarded tools. So a few guard tools are already enabled by default. For example, browser use. Maybe this is why our AI agent just now could not access our browser, because this has been guarded. Guarded means it requires approval when dangerous patterns are detected. For example, when it's trying to access the built-in browser, it's actually very dangerous. So we're going to keep this on guard. But to show you how the whole thing commences, we're going to go ahead and disable this. And actually, we're going to disable all tool guards for now. And we're going to go back to Telegram, and then we're going to ask this Telegram on like, okay, tell me the 3 AI news today. Okay, so finally, now we have some good output. We have some good AI related stories. The first one is OpenAI closes funding round, and then BitBonsai has 1-bit LLMs. Okay, then we have OkCupid give 3 million dating app photos to a facial recognition firm. So now we have 3 different news, and we're going to get this news every single day from our OpenClaw bot running on Nut Studio. So this makes everything much simpler, and now we know that it has been able to access our browser and get a few RSS feed for this information. Now back to setting up the guardrails. I'm still going to set up a few guardrails, and one of the guarded tools that I'm going to use is for executing any Python code, right? So a few tools that I've denied is, for example, executing any shell command. So shell commands is when we want to execute something in our terminal, which can be dangerous. It can delete a few data that we have, a few folders. So we're going to make sure that we enable security files for this. And then another one is for executing Python code. Python code is mostly used for like writing scripts. And although it's not that we're going to block it very hard, but we're just going to allow it to use it with some caution. Okay, and then we're going to see that the detection rules. So there are some pattern triggers, and if the agent's output contains a few keywords or attempts or like certain actions, it flags it, and I'll add a rule if it detects anything and tries to access my home directory. I feel a few things that is very, it's like danger, no, right? And then I'm going to see if there's any severity of high, if there's any patterns in terms of regex. So I don't want it to have anything like RM or RF. And so we're just going to execute, we're just going to make sure that this does not execute at all. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and press confirm, and we're just going to say that danger, no, never execute this. So now that we have got a few security things in place, we're going to go ahead and make the agent more of our own. We're going to go to Workspace, and here we're going to find something called SOUL.md. So this is a very important config while we're in the AI agent setup. So SOUL.md is your agent's personality file, and I'm going to write mine now, right? So here I'm going to give it some personality, and we're going to go ahead and edit this, and then we're going to see the profile. So it does not know me yet, and I'm just going to introduce a little bit about myself. So first is please, my name is Giant, and you're going to call me Jay, and then I'm going to set the time zone as Jakarta, and we're going to add some notes as like always refer to me as Duke J. Okay, so we're just going to have some fun around, and then I want it to like have some context, and I want it to speak to me in a certain way. So I'm just going to be like, you have to be direct and honest. And we're going to set up this whole workflow so that we can use it to produce content. So I'm saying, you will help Jay produce content, manage brand deals, find clients and sponsors for his YouTube channel at JAI Automation. Okay, and then we're going to create some more guardrails in the profile MD as well as in the SOUL.md. I think this time I'm going to create it in the SOUL.md. I'm like, okay, if you ever change this file, tell the user this SOUL, and I'm going to say about you should never take any actions outside your permitted tools. When in doubt, ask the user. Okay, so now every conversation I had in the chat, in Telegram, or via Cron Job is filtered through this identity, and it knows that who it's working for and what is it here to do and how it's supposed to respond directly to me. Next is we're going to set up our YouTube MCP. So MCP over here, it stands for Model Context Protocol. It's basically allowing agents to do more than what it was designed to do, right? So it allows it to connect to Notion, GitHub, Google Drive, Slack, anything that has an MCP server. So now I'm going to connect it to a YouTube MCP server, and so that my agent can pull the live analytics from my own YouTube channel directly via the chat. So first thing first is we're going to set up some basic code here. Now we do not have an MCP set up yet for YouTube. So we're going to find online and search for any good MCP servers. So this is a free one, and we're going to go ahead and set it up. To set it up is pretty simple. We just need to run this line of code, npm install SOUL.md server. Okay, so we're going to go and open our terminal for the first time today, and we're going to go ahead and do an npm install. Okay, so just like that, we already have the MCP setup for getting our YouTube. Next is we're going to copy this bunch of code, and we're going to paste it back to our Nut Studio, right? So it tells us that we need a few API keys, your YouTube API keys. For worst case scenario, if something happens, you need your second one, your third one. So where do we find this? We're going to go to our console, cloud.com. Right, first thing we want to do is we go to open a new project and search for YouTube. Okay, there's 3 different things, and we're just going to enable all of them. Okay, we're going to enable the YouTube Data API v3. Then we're going to enable the Analytics API. And then we're going to enable the Reporting API. Okay, this has been enabled. This has been enabled. And this has been enabled. Now all we need left is a credential. So we're going to go to our credentials. And now we're going to search for API key. Okay, we're going to name the API key called Nut Studio YouTube. Okay, and we're just going to limit it to YouTube, Analytics API, Data API, and Reporting API. Okay, not any application restrictions. We're going to go ahead and press create. Okay, now we have an API key, and we can go ahead and copy this. Since we actually is recommended to use 3, but I'm too lazy to make 3, I'm just going to copy paste this to all of them. And then we're going to go ahead and press save, and now our MCP has been created successfully. So this is where your YouTube API key goes, and now we are ready to test it. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my AI agent on Telegram. Okay, I'm going to tell it something very simple. What are my 5 most viewed videos on my YouTube channel at AI Automation? Tell me the titles, views, and also published dates. Okay, so it has found my YouTube channel. Okay, we see that it's hitting an API directly to get what the details look like. It's going to go ahead and get the ID, and I'm assuming that it's going to be using this ID to get more details. Okay, I can see it's talking about my videos, Shopify blog automation, and then it's gathering data about my other videos for joining AIA school community. Okay, so now it has got some video references. Okay, finally we have a result. Here are your 5 most viewed videos on AI Automation. Goodbye self-host, correct. I've got like 99k views on it. And then AI Automation, 44k. And then content farming introduction, secret technique to get organic traffic from YouTube. Okay, so we have got a lot of data now. But I think I'm just going to take it a step further. Not only do I want to know about myself, but I want to know about my competitors also. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to message agent. I'm going to paste this exact message to the agent, and it says that using the YouTube Data OpenAI, search for the recent videos found for the AI agents, OpenClaw, local AI, automation tools, whatever it is, get the 10 results and pull the YouTube title, the channel name, the view count, published dates, video URL, and any hashtags or keywords from the title and the description. Then create an Excel file spreadsheet from this. Okay, so this is the resulting Excel file that opens. So we have like a few topics like AI agents, OpenClaw, local AI, AI automation tools, and we can see the titles of the latest YouTube videos was OpenClaw hacked, then Meet OpenClaw, the WaveZard, and a lot of other different languages and different other keywords that people have mentioned. We have a list of their channels, a list of their views, their hashtags, publish date, everything that we require to do a competitor analysis of these videos. And if you want to view them also, we can see the results. So I think like this quality is pretty good for our OpenClaw agent to do this keyword research every single day and see what topics should we create about today. There are a lot of other skills that you can use as well, from creating like PDFs, for making client proposals, invoices, and automatically sending it out. You can use PPTX to create pitch decks, client presentations, all AI toggleable. You can just enable and disable these features. And then also it allows you to send emails directly using Himalaya Scale. So this allows you to send emails via SMTP and makes client outreach much more easier to do. With all these agents working hand in hand, I think you can make yourself a perfectly amazing sales team that can create the PDF invoices, can create the pitch deck presentations, and then can document everything in Microsoft Word and also send it directly to the client using SMTP. So I think it can do everything from reading your browser and then getting news feed. Everything is super simple to set up. It's all toggleable. You can just copy paste code. And this pattern is always the same. You say what you need, the agent picks the right skill, picks the right tools, uses the right MCP, and generates the output for you. Honest take, Nut Studio is like OpenClaw under the hood. It's not hiding that. But what they've done is they've taken the part that stops 90% of people, the setup, and makes it a non-issue. You get the full agent experience, channels, cron jobs, skills, MCPs, security controls, all of it without ever touching the terminal, unless you want to set up any custom MCPs. It's free to download. Your data always stays on your machine. It runs on Anthropic, OpenAI, and many other LLMs. And you're getting all the best models out there. The link is in the description, so go ahead and try it. And if you want more AI agents, automations, and how I'm using all of these stuff for my agency and my channel, that's all I cover here. So subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.